I haven't spoken about it much on this channel yet, but the UN has what's called the Happiness Index Scale. Now, it's kind of like GDP in that it measures populace of a country, and in particular, it tries to measure their happiness, mental health, and well-being. Now, some of the Nordic countries, especially Denmark, has routinely and consistently scored within the top 10 countries on that index for as long as we've been doing the measurement. So today, we're going to find out why that is with the book, The Little Book of Hygge by Meik Wiking. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, mate, sorry. Let's check it out. Alrighty guys, I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to Walk It Off. I'm Nathan and I'm going to be your guide through all things mental health. So, as you know, we're getting into book reviews and I like talking about all the different books that I read on the topics of mental health and self-development. Now, I usually listen to most of my books, so a lot of the time the ones you're actually seeing in these videos are kind of little more than a prop really, but I am actually working on an idea as to what to do with all of these that's I'm not yet ready to tell everybody about, but hopefully it happens within the next 6 months. But I digress. Today we are checking out this one right here, The Little Book of Hygge, and yes, I had to practice pronouncing that quite a lot. And effectively what Hygge is kind of like the Danish word for mental health and well-being. I mean, it doesn't translate exactly to that. It's got kind of elements of coziness as a part of it. And I fell in love with this book, to be quite honest, from the first couple of pages. Meik, I'm not sure how to pronounce this guy's name. It's going to be Mike from now on, just because it's easier for me to say. But he works for like a happiness research center, and he studies how we can make our lives more fulfilled. And where he's from, in the Danish language, they have this word Hygge, and like I said, it's somewhere between coziness and mental health. It's a mishmash of things, and he goes into exactly what it means. There's a big section early on, I think it's in about chapter 3, and it's actually one of my favorite sections of the whole book, because he talks about the phenomenon of untranslatable words, or words that are they're a bit more conceptual and they don't translate very well into English. And he goes through all different words from around the world, from the the Eskimo word for a reindeer born with one testicle. There's a Japanese word for collecting books that you'll never read. And there's a word from German that I kind of loved for a long time called Schadenfreude, and it kind of means glee at someone else's misfortune, more like almost like glee at an enemy's misfortune. And there's no real word that kind of succinctly encapsulates that emotion in English. And a lot of German words, they sound very angry. I'm sorry, Germany, but your word, it's an angry sounding language, but it's a beautiful word. And I think that, Hygge is one that's going to become part of my vocabulary in that he goes on for some length about the phrase of this is so Hygge, and the way he describes it is the kind of emotion of silently drinking a hot cocoa in front of a fire at the end of a day in a cabin after a huge hike with your friends. That's Hygge. And that's what I mean. It's something to do with kind of it's mental health, but it's also kind of coziness and contentment. And I really, really, really dig that. Because, I mean, there is no better feeling, in my opinion, than coming home from a day on the trail and kind of just relaxing. You feel like you've genuinely done something that day. It's a quirky book. It's only very short, and it's a very interesting look into Danish culture, which I'd never really contemplated all that much before. But they seem like a generally quite happy peoples. And I think a lot of the Nordic countries, they seemingly take mental health a bit more seriously than we do here in Australia and America. And I don't know, I think it seems to be working. You know what I mean? They seem to put an emphasis on the things that actually give you better mental health and contentment. But that's what Hygge's all about, essentially making happy memories, being content. He goes into how in Denmark lots of people have very small but very close social circles, and I've thought that is a much better way of living compared to trying to keep up with 1,000 Facebook friends. Just have one or two that you see really often and you're really, really close to. I mean, I would 100%. I'd rather have 5 to 10 good friends that I could actually count on when I need them, and they could do the same for me, than having 1,000 acquaintances that I don't know particularly well. I mean, some of my older friendships, none of these people, well, some of them weren't particularly bad in any way, shape or form, but I think our friendship was more or less a chemical one, if you get what I'm meaning by that. You know, all we ever really, like, our friendship didn't really extend outside of partying and taking drugs and hitting the sauce and that type of thing. And our friendships were never really deeper than that. And it's kind of sad, because there's a couple of people that I miss. But like I said, I'd rather have a couple of, a group of friends that you could count on one hand, as opposed to having 1,000 fake ones. It's nothing worse than fake friends. But yeah, this book goes into the details of what Hygge is, how you can bring more of it into your life. And he does that through describing Danish culture. There's some big sections on Danish comfort food. And there's going to be a few slow cooker recipes that I reckon I'm going to give a blast out of these, because they sound quite good. And in my opinion, there's nothing more Hygge than a nice slow cooked stew. Yeah, like I said, I think I'm going to be taking a lot away from this book that I'm going to implement into my own life and to my home life with my family. So yeah, like I said, I really think you should pick this one up. It's probably not for everybody, but it is a very quirky little book, and I think you'll enjoy it. It's kind of interesting to look at mental health through a lens of positivity, and I mean that kind of insofar as someone who's got their shit sorted and wants to stay positive, as opposed to a lot of mental health books are kind of coming from a perspective of trying to fix something that's broken already. And it's kind of refreshing this one, the take that it's got, in that it's approaching it from a different viewpoint, in that the Danes seem to have gotten something right here, so let's pull apart what they're doing and then look at how you can apply that to your own life. So yeah, like I said, it is very good. It's an easy read to get through. It is a beautiful little book from a design point of view, which is always a really big selling point for me. Yeah, I very much think you'll enjoy this one. And yeah. Alrighty guys, it's time to wrap this one up for this week. Have you read The Little Book of Hygge by Meik Wiking? If you have, I'd love to chat about it in the comments below with you. If you haven't read it, definitely check this one out. It's a great and quirky little book, and it will keep you smiling from page to page. As always, I'm Nathan. This has been Walk It Off. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, go outside, get better, and be awesome, you beautiful people. I'll catch you next time.